Hi, this is Kevin Trainer, and I'd like to welcome you to my lecture on forming a project vision as part of, this is one of the introductory lectures for the senior capstone. So, at this point, we've already gone over the syllabus, and you've got a pretty good idea that a big part of what we're doing in this course is that we're doing a project with a small team. Okay, so let's try to paint that picture more vividly. And my goal is to give you enough information and then turn it back over to you so that you can start working on your vision. Okay? In fact, there's an assignment for the week, which is to do a forum post of your project vision. Okay? Version 1. Right? And the input for that is, let's see, this lecture, some talking to people, a lot of thinking and soul searching, some imagination, and then some typing. Okay, so the objective for the course, this is from the syllabus, is for you to be able to demonstrate the skills acquired during the BIST program in systems analysis, programming, database development, web design, and web development as part of a small project team that creates a computer application for a real-world client. All right, so that's what we're trying to have you do. So we're going to try to break that down a bit. Now, how's this going to be similar to previous assignments you've had in other courses? Well, it does have some similarity. One is that ideally, we would like you to be able to showcase the skills that you've learned in the program. If you have other skills too, well, heck, we'd like to be able to showcase them. The project that you produce for this course ought to be a real feather in your portfolio cap, to mix a metaphor, okay? So you should be able to show it to people when they say, well, what can you do? You could say, well, would you like to see something that I've done? Okay? And of course, what you've done should be able to demonstrate your skills. The tool set that I recommend that you use is the LAMP tool set that we use at SOAS. Okay? Do you have to use that? No, you don't. But this is a tool set that we know well. It's very popular. It has a lot of uptake in really all fields. And so it's a great way to do the kind of project that we're talking about and use tools that we've already taught you about. We're expected to use best practices, okay? So we've been expecting you to do that all the way through your program, okay? We don't want you to just turn any old thing out. We would like your work to reflect the best practices that you learned about while you're here. Okay? And any other good practices that you happen to know about. Why? So you can show them to people, preferably potential employers. Okay, so how's this different from previous assignments? Well, the project must be conducted by a team. This is a team experience. And the interesting thing is that's typically what we're going to have in the workplace. Yeah, you'll get individual assignments in the workplace, but more typically, you'll be working with a team. So potential employers are going to want to know that you've already worked on a team and that it's worked out well. So having an experience you can point to is what we're all about here. This project is going to deliver a real system for a real client. There's a certain aspect of doing toy programs for pretend clients that's useful, and there's a certain aspect of it that doesn't actually prepare us for the real world. Okay? The real world is messy. Okay? The clients are hard to get requirements out of. Okay? They change their mind. They find it hard to express their needs. They find a lot of things hard. We want you to have had this experience and work through it, because this is what you're going to need on the job. Okay? And if those kinds of questions should come up with a potential employer, you're going to be able to talk about them in a really concrete way. In addition to all the technical stuff that we've learned so far, in addition to the fact that this is a real system for a real client, there are a bunch of practices that we're going to be talking about and teaching you about that we want you to use, because these are the kinds of things that are expected in the workplace. They may not have been expected in the projects you've done in your program so far. That's fine. We're going to add them now. The biggest thing is Agile Project Management. Agile Project Management is a very trendy, lightweight approach to managing projects that is very well adapted for just the size and type of project that you're going to be doing. This is perfect. Okay? So we're going to be learning about that. We expect you to use it. We're going to teach you about version control with Git. We're going to expect you to use version control in your project. We're going to teach you about collaboration tools, namely Jira Agile, and we're going to expect you to use that. And we're going to be interested in other collaboration tools that you decide to use on your team. We're expecting you to have a formal test plan and execute that formal test plan. So when you show us your work, we're going to ask, well, how did you test that? Was there a test plan? Where is it? How'd it go? Is it a repeatable test? Etc. So not only have you created it, but you've tested it. And then we're also going to want to know that you've done an appropriate level of documentation and training for the client. Okay? Now, how much is enough? We're going to be talking about that as the course goes on. But we just can't dump this thing on a client and say, well, we did our work, okay, bye. Okay, this is a real system for a real client. It's got to have some amount of documentation and training to support it in the field. And something that I mentioned already, you'll be able to use tool sets other than LAMP. Okay, I've had teams that come back and say, you know, we really want to use this cloud platform from somebody because we're doing it for this kind of not-for-profit client or whatever. We can get it for free, or it has a reasonable price for our client that they're willing to pay. We want to do that. That's fine. Okay? Of course, you're going to have more to learn, but, you know, that's pretty fun. How are you going to find a client? Well, it's got to be a real client. No phony baloney clients. Not like, well, I'm the client. And not my brother's the client. Not my friends and I are the client. No. If you have a client, it can be a relation. Okay? But it's got to be a real client. They have to have a real enterprise. They have to have a business, a club, a church, a political campaign, something that needs a system solution. They have to have real requirements. As I say, real clients have real requirements. Okay? That's the experience that we want you to have. We don't want you imagining what people's requirements might be. We want you to have the messy experience of getting face to face with real requirements from real clients. Something that can be very satisfying when it's over, but can be very challenging while you're doing it. What kind of candidate organizations could you pick? Well, a lot of people find a project either at a place they're working right now or that they worked before. Okay? And that could be employment at the university. That could be part-time employment. It could be full-time employment. We've had all variations of that. We've had quite a number of people who've owned a business. Okay, either the student themselves or a family member or a close friend. Okay, great way to get the attention of the people who you're going to want to help. Some kind of club or other organization in which the student or one of their relatives is a member. We've had student clubs, we've had 4-H clubs, we've had all kinds of stuff. Any business that wants our help, any not-for-profit that wants our help. We've had all kinds of businesses that we have helped where it's just students have said, you know, I bet those guys could use some help. Let's go ask them. And they go, hey, great, you know, we could use some student help. Any university, a department that wants some help. So there are some departments that build systems here at UWM. And sometimes I'll have a couple of students who have an internship there, and they're going to be building a system there anyway. Could they use that work? A couple have, and it's worked out okay. So lots of possibilities for finding a client. Remember, not everybody has to find a client that we decide to help. We're going to be in teams of approximately 4, okay? As large as maybe 6, as small as, let's say, 3, okay? Well, that means that of all the ideas that we come up with, on average, only 1 in 4 has to go all the way to the goal line. Okay, the other things might be interesting conversations that don't really turn into anything. Okay, so if we all try to find a client and we brainstorm on this, we generally find at least enough opportunities to get the job done. Choosing which application to do, okay? It's got to be an application that the client intends to use. Okay, now, if they don't intend to use it, then these are not real requirements. Okay, they're not a real client. They're just pretending to be a real client. Okay, so you're not going to get the real client experience. Okay, so it has to be something that they intend to use. Should it be something that is going to manage their whole business and they're going to live or die on the basis of it? No, it doesn't have to be something like that. Maybe that's a little too critical for us at this point. Okay. Could it be that kind of thing? Yeah, I guess it could be that kind of thing. We've had a couple of systems that we've done that I think are pretty critical, but we've had some that were less critical, and that's okay too. Okay, but it has to be something they're going to use. It should be an application that gives the team a chance to demonstrate all the skills that they learned in the BIST program. That's the reason why a static website is not going to be enough on its own. Okay, that's not just what the program's about. The program's about a lot more. We ought to be able to create applications that our client can use to manage some kind of business records that we're going to keep in some kind of a data store, probably a relational database, in which we're going to do the full CRUD functionality. Okay. Now, do we have to build these things from scratch, or can we build them on top of some kind of web platform like, say, WordPress? And there's a whole list of them. Yeah, you can build it on top of a platform, but you have to be able to demonstrate, in particular, the application that we have full CRUD functionality and on some business records. And to the extent that you build this thing on top of a framework, well, then we're going to expect more from your team than from a team that didn't build something on top of a framework. So we try to factor that in. How are you going to recruit a team? Well, students are expected to form their own teams during the first third of the course. Okay, approximately third of the course. So say 5 weeks, 5 to 6 weeks. Now, generally there's no problem with this. Occasionally a person will have a problem finding a team, and they'll come to me and ask for help, and I'll help. Okay, but generally speaking, I feel that we do better for people to self-form than for me to form people into teams and then have you go looking for a project. It's a lot more fun. It's a lot more engaging. Students should join teams that have an interesting project, okay? Because they want to work on it. It's going to be more fun if they find it interesting. Students should join teams in which their skills are needed and in which they seem they have a good interpersonal fit. Okay. This is a small team. This is a team of 3 to 6 people, ideally 4, okay? It's a bit like being in a lifeboat with somebody, okay? You have to get along, right? You have to have some amount of interpersonal fit. So that's the thing that you want to consider when you're deciding on which team you're going to be part of. And much of our class interaction in the first part of the course is going to be towards forming teams. All right, this is just our first step. Remember that teams are not going to just start coding and go haywire. So the goal here is not just to form a team and do a project. It's to form a team and do a project according to a set of expectations. Okay? So we want you to choose an appropriate project. I talked about that. We want to recruit appropriate team members. I talked about that. Okay? Agile project management is a big part of this course. So you definitely need to learn about that and to practice it. We need you to learn about and use version control. Version control is pretty simple stuff. There's a lot of pesky details in the beginning, but once you learn it, it's a very important skill and one that you're going to have to use in the workplace over and over again. I want you to take a formal approach to testing. Okay, this is what people are going to expect of you in the workplace, so that's what we're going to expect of you here. And I want you to just have an appropriate amount of documentation and training. Okay, not too much, not too little. I want you to be able to answer the question, what was appropriate for our audience and how do we deliver it? Okay, so you not only form a team, you not only get a good project, but you have to do it and keep to form on these expectations. Now, how do you do that? Well, you begin by thinking about what you individually see as a project vision. Okay? So, spend some time and talk to potential clients. Okay? If you can think of somebody, say, hey, I've got this thing we're doing, blah, 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 blah. What do you think? Okay? Start to get to know your classmates. You're going to be making a forum post to introduce yourself, so are your classmates. Find out about them. Start to brainstorm with clients and classmates about what's possible. And when I say that I want you to form your project vision, I want you to express it in the following terms. What clients this for? What kind of application we're going to do for them? Who's likely to be on our team? What other methods and tools that we're going to use? And do we have any other ideas that make our approach special? Things like, well, we're proposing to use this special technology, or we're expecting you to use a special tool, or some kind of special approach. Feel free to be special, okay? The more special you are, the more bonded you are to each other. So, I want you to start this in this week, and I want you to express your current thoughts on your project vision from your own point of view in the forum post that you're going to make this week. And then we're going to go from there. So this is a fun course. This is a course where you get to do, you get to create something very tangible for a real client, and you get something to put into your portfolio that you can really show people and you can talk about with prospective employers. And it's very satisfying. I find that the students at the end of the course are very satisfied with themselves and are looking forward to talking about this with either their current employers or potential new employers. So it's a very satisfying thing to do, and your mission is to form the vision. So I'm going to leave you with that goal, and I'm going to say bye until next time. Bye-bye.